Hello everyone, this is Dr. Madhushri Chatterjee and welcome to MC Biology classes. In today's session, I'll be talking about oxygen dissociation curve of hemoglobin. So without wasting time, let's get started. So before going into the detail of oxygen dissociation curve, you should learn some basic things like blood carries oxygen from lungs to the heart and from there to the different body cells. Okay, so blood carries oxygen from lungs to heart and from heart to the different body cells. Now the question is, how does this transport of oxygen occurs through blood? See, there are basically two modes of transport. First is in dissolved state. Like as I have written here, just 3% of oxygen can be transported in dissolved state through blood plasma. I think you all know blood plasma is the liquid part of the blood. So only 3% of oxygen gets transported in dissolved state through the blood plasma. Fine, this much is clear. And then what happens to the remaining 97% of oxygen? That 97% of oxygen gets transported as oxyhemoglobin. Now the question is, ma'am, what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin, we may write in short HB, is a conjugated protein. Okay, hemoglobin is a conjugated protein. That means it is composed of one protein part and another non-protein part. Now this hem plus globin makes one hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is red colored pigment present in RBC, red blood corpuscles. Okay. Now this heme part is the non-protein part and it contains iron. And there is a very important question for NEET exam. If heme contains iron, what is the state of that iron? Is it Fe2 plus or Fe3 plus? Yes, the answer is it is Fe2 plus. Okay. And the globin part is the protein part. So that is the reason why we called hemoglobin as a conjugated protein, because one non-protein part and one protein part is there. Now why hemoglobin is so much important? Because hemoglobin is the person, he is the key person who carries oxygen as oxyhemoglobin, and it takes the oxygen to its destination. What is the destination of oxygen? Finally, it has to reach the tissues, right? Because there only they will be utilized, because there only they will be required, oxygen will be required to oxidize glucose so that we can get energy to study, to do WhatsApp, to do Facebook, right? Anyways, so what I mean to say is, just to carry out the cellular respiration process, oxygen has to finally reach its destination, that is the body cells. Okay, so hemoglobin is the key component here, which is carrying the oxygen through the blood to its destination. Now when oxygen is being carried by hemoglobin, how does the process occur? How hemoglobin gets attached to an oxygen? See, hemoglobin, one molecule of hemoglobin, a single molecule of hemoglobin can bind 4 molecules of oxygen. Okay, single molecule of hemoglobin can bind 4 molecules of oxygen. Okay, now one important point is there. This binding of hemoglobin with oxygen is basically reversible binding, and secondly, this type of binding is referred to as cooperative binding. Now what is meant by that? See, the binding of the first oxygen molecule to the hemoglobin is a bit difficult, but once one oxygen gets attached to the hemoglobin, it facilitates the binding of subsequent oxygens. Okay, so this will facilitate the binding of second oxygen, and the binding of the second oxygen will facilitate the binding of third oxygen, which in turn will facilitate the binding of fourth oxygen. Okay, so a single hemoglobin molecule can get attached to 4 oxygen molecules. This much is clear. Now, what is actually known as saturation of hemoglobin? See, if hemoglobin has 4 hands, that means if hemoglobin has the capability to bind to 4 molecules of oxygen, and if it is attached to 4 molecules of oxygen completely, that means it's 100% saturated, right? If its 4 hands are occupied by 4 different oxygen molecules, this hemoglobin is 100% saturated, right? Now, let me just remove 1 oxygen from here. What is the saturation level? Then it is known as 75% saturated, right? Now, if I remove 1 more oxygen molecule, what will happen? This hemoglobin will be 50% saturated by oxygen. Then I am removing the third oxygen. Then it is how much saturated? Then it is 25% saturated. And finally, if I remove the last oxygen, no oxygen is present to hemoglobin. So this is known as the saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. Okay, and one very important point is that why I am mentioning this, because our ultimate topic is oxygen dissociation curve. So before going into that, actually it was very important to make you understand about these concepts, like what is hemoglobin, how it gets attached to oxygen, and what is referred to as saturation or percent saturation. Okay, now why we are concerned about the oxygen dissociation curve? See, when hemoglobin gets attached to the oxygen in the lung surface, and then it is carried away to the heart, and from there it has to reach to the different tissues. So once hemoglobin reaches the tissue with oxygen attached to its 4 hands, then after reaching its destination, it has to release all the oxygen molecules there, right? Because I am the hemoglobin, okay, let us assume, and I have reached my destination. Then I will keep all my luggages there at the destination, right? So I have to release the oxygen molecules there. So oxygen molecules should be dissociated from the hemoglobin reaching at the destination. That means reaching at the different tissues. That is why oxygen dissociation is also important, because it is not possible, right, that hemoglobin will carry oxygen forever. It's not possible. It has to reach the destination and there it will release the oxygen, because of course tissues require oxygen, otherwise how will they carry out cellular respiration? Okay, now let us move on to the actual oxygen dissociation curve, how it is expressed, what are the factors that affect this curve and all. So yes, let's move on to the next part. This is the oxygen dissociation curve of hemoglobin. What is this? This is basically a graphical representation to show the relationship between partial pressure of oxygen in millimeter Hg. Please remember the unit. And in the y-axis, percent saturation of hemoglobin. What is percent saturation of hemoglobin? I have already mentioned. And what is partial pressure? Partial pressure is pressure contributed by an individual gas in a mixture of gases. So partial pressure of oxygen has been taken in the x-axis. It is also represented as like this, PO2. Okay, and as you can see, the graph is S-shaped. See the shape like this, and we call the shape of the graph, which looks like the English alphabet S, as sigmoid shape. So the graph between partial pressure of oxygen and percent saturation of hemoglobin is S-shaped, or we may call it a sigmoid shape graph. Okay. Now, why the shape is like this? Why it is a sigmoid shape curve? See, as I have mentioned that binding of oxygen to hemoglobin is cooperative, right? And it means the binding of one oxygen molecule is difficult, but once one oxygen molecule gets attached to hemoglobin, it will facilitate further binding of the other oxygen molecules. Now, once all the 4 binding sites of hemoglobin is occupied with the oxygen, will hemoglobin be able to bind more oxygen? No, it won't. That means hemoglobin has reached its saturation point. So the graph after a certain time, see, it's increasing, and after a certain time it becomes parallel to the x-axis, and that is the point where saturation has been achieved. Like all the binding sites of hemoglobin have been occupied by oxygen. So even if we try to add more oxygen, hemoglobin is not able to take it, right? So this is known as the saturation, and this means this is the 100% saturation. Like hemoglobin is no more capable of binding to oxygen. Okay. So this is the reason why the graph is sigmoid or S-shaped, because after a certain time it becomes parallel to the x-axis. And in a normal person, 15 gram of hemoglobin is found in 100 ml of blood. You need to remember this data because this is important for NEET exam. Now, some factors have been mentioned here and these factors influence the binding of hemoglobin to oxygen. Now, as the name suggests, oxygen dissociation curve. So, of course, we need to study the factors that lead to the dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin. As I have already mentioned that dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin is required where? In the tissues, in the body tissues, the dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin would be required. So, some factors are there, right? Some factors are of course there which will facilitate the process, which will facilitate the dissociation. So, you can see from the graph that the dark blue curve is the normal dissociation curve, and this one represents shift to right and this one represents shift to left. Now, what is meant by these two words? Shift to right, shift to left means? Shift to right means when dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin is facilitated. That means once it reaches the tissue, oxygen has to dissociate from the hemoglobin. Now, the factors that will promote this dissociation, that means the factors which will shift the curve to the right, are less partial pressure of oxygen. When the partial pressure of oxygen is less, it will of course dissociate from the hemoglobin. When partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher, means carbon dioxide will then bind to the hemoglobin. So, oxygen binding will be of course reduced. Then when the concentration of H plus ion is high, and concentration of H plus ion high means of course pH is less. Then presence of 2,3 bisphosphoglycerate and high temperature. So, these are the 5 factors that will lead to the shift of the curve to the right. That means these factors will promote dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin. I repeat the factors: partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be increased, H plus ion concentration will be increased, temperature will be increased, presence of 2,3 BPG and partial pressure of oxygen will be decreased. When these features are there, the curve will be shifted to the right. So, it will promote the dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin. So, if we talk about the shift to left, of course, the opposite will happen. Shift to left means what? The binding of oxygen to hemoglobin is promoted, right? So, the factors are exactly the opposite. Of course, when the partial pressure of oxygen is higher, it will more easily bind to the hemoglobin. So, higher partial pressure of oxygen and of course, less PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be less. H plus concentration less, pH of course is higher, then temperature is less. That means the factors which are mentioned here, exactly the opposite factors will lead to the shift to the left or promote the association of oxygen to hemoglobin. Okay, and the association of oxygen to hemoglobin is required where? In the lungs, right? Because in the lungs is the region where oxygen gets attached to the hemoglobin so that it can be carried out to its destination. Okay, part of this session, two more things are left. First one is fetal hemoglobin. Fetal hemoglobin. In short, we may also write it as HbF, where F stands for fetal. It shows higher affinity to oxygen than adult hemoglobin. Okay, you need to memorize this because this is important for exam. Like hemoglobin F or fetal hemoglobin shows higher affinity towards oxygen than adult hemoglobin because it binds 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate less strongly. This is very important. So just try to assume fetal hemoglobin, if it shows more affinity towards oxygen, what would be the fate of oxygen dissociation curve? Will it shift towards right or will it shift towards left? Yes, it will shift towards left because it has higher affinity towards oxygen, right? Left means oxygen association to hemoglobin and the right means oxygen dissociation from hemoglobin. So when oxygen is having higher affinity, then it will be shifted to the left. So ODC or oxygen dissociation curve will shift to the left in case of fetal hemoglobin. Okay, and the last part is P50 value. What is that? P50 value is the value of partial pressure of oxygen at which hemoglobin is 50% saturated with oxygen. I repeat, it is the value of partial pressure of oxygen at which hemoglobin is 50% saturated with oxygen. Okay. Now, from this graph, you can see that this is the place where 100% saturation is found. So I have mentioned 100 here. So 50% saturation will be somewhere like here, 50. So if we try to, yes, this is the point. So this is the point where 25 mmHg of partial pressure is found. So this is the P50 value. So yes, this is all about today's lecture. I'll be providing one assignment containing 10 MCQs based on this particular topic. So if you are interested to get that assignment, please mail me in my email ID given in the description below. Okay, so thank you so much, and if you like this video, please share with your friends, and if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. And yes, I'll be uploading many more useful videos. Thank you so much.